The Last Goddess of Wisdom and Affection. 6. Her Invitation to by Yuki Kato from Japan. It was the same height as a tree behind the man in depth. As the man approached, Yoshie stood in front of Kaho. She had sweat in her palms. Who are you? Yoshie asked the man. No, I'm not asking you. I'm asking the girl with the long hair behind you, the man replied. I could feel Yoshie's pressure on him. For my part, I was more surprised by the hostility that welled up from the deep inside her. Then, who are you? The man replied to Kaho in a soft voice. Oh, I'm sorry for the sudden question. I've got a lower voice, and I'm taller, so it's no wonder you don't know me. I am Itsuki Toda. I'm a zero wing and 100 lost guy, Ikun. You were fast on your feet, weren't you? Itsuki said. Kaho's heartbeat quickened. If it weren't for Yoshie, she might have dealt with him appropriately. I have never met you. Kaho replied. I gotta get you wrong. We always prayed together until you transferred. Besides, your facial features haven't changed much, but somehow your mood has become more mature. Oh yes, it's your mother going well? Itsuki didn't give up his opinion. At his last word, Kaho felt her stomach heat up. Even though he didn't know what was going on the sudden reunion, he stepped on her runway. I never knew you, Kaho shouted to him. That wasn't a reason for him to be graded at. If she lived in Yokohama City, it would have been no surprise that she would see him again someday. But it was too early for her. What are you? She says she didn't know you. So you were wrong, right? Go right ahead. Yoshie shouted too. Yoshie's arm was cut in front of Kaho, and the sweat of her hands ran down her uniform. She and I were convinced. She sat in the bench and leaned forward, revealing her hand from under Yoshie's armpit. At that moment, a new male voice came from behind Itsuki. Wow, it's funny that a male student from West High School is picking up girls. It was such a vulgar voice that, man, even I heard it. It made me vomit. Kaho, run away, said Itsuki, who noticed behind him, trying to stay impress his own. Is Kaho Wakamatsu Kaho, who attended Ropponmatsu Elementary School? Of course, stupid brains and mother nervous, one woman asked. Are you serious? That's a male student from West High School. Toda is the only one in this neighborhood who went to Nishi High School. Moreover, this guy was only chasing behind Wakamatsu, another man for the former one. This bad duo wouldn't have stepped on Kaho's mind if it weren't for Yoshie here. They would never have thought that their subsequent remarks would bring disaster to themselves. Even so, is Wakamatsu pretty small now? Is she wearing a high school uniform? And this is the uniform of Shirakaze Girls Academy. This house was a single mother family, wasn't it? One of the men said loudly. This statement became a landmine for them in Kaho's favor, but I had no shred of sympathy for them. They would have despised anyone. They had no beliefs. The other woman is a mob character, but for the time being, It's a woman, so it's okay, isn't it? The other man said presently. You are down. Kaho went from being a belligerent being belligerent. The girls soprano boys, Yoshie, Itsuki, and the two bad guys' shoulders turned in unison. Eken, don't leave Yoshie, Kaho instructed. Far from being delighted with the nostalgic name, he could only nod silently. Kaho, it's dangerous. Let's run away. When this happened, even if Yoshie tried her best to speak out, she wouldn't listen. Not to mention that she couldn't assume that she would be small when she grew up, but she had hidden a side of herself. It was hard for me to say, but she was adept at making herself look weak with her natural appearance and everyday gestures. She skillfully used her deep, dormant nature. The bad man pulled it out with the keyword woman. I didn't dare to sympathize with him. No problem. Because now she could adjust her own power. We are Ito and Harada. You remember us well, right? We're not antagonizing us. We're just suggesting that you do something fun with us, Ito told her. Well, don't call yourself blind. There is no way that such a murderous girl is Wakamatsu, Harada shouted. No, it doesn't change that she's a woman. Look, let's go into the men's restroom there. Ito didn't stop saying. Kaha grabbed his wrist before he grabbed it, then snuggled it and snuggled his ankle. Just as he fell, she chopped him on the back of his neck to control him. Harada was distraught with a sense of crisis. He tried to grab her chest, but it was humiliated like petals flying in the air. She thrust his back with her elbow and his right side with her knee. He groaned at that. The moment he bent down, her elbow dropped. Itsuki, on the other hand, was just standing in front of Yoshie and has no chance of playing Kaho's sword. Yoshie was fascinated her even though she was sweating all over her face and body. Are you hurt? Asked Kaho with a sideways glance. No injured. No nothing. I'm safe, thank you. As Kaho remained silent, Itsuki realized that Kaho had been asking him about Yoshie. She's safe too. Itsuki pointed to Yoshie, and Kaho nodded amiably. Kaho, it's dangerous, shouted Yoshie. As soon as Kaho turned away, Harada stood up to cover her. She kept her cold expression on her face and stretched her right leg backwards vigorously. Harada hit him in the face, and he fell at the same time that the knife he was holding fell to the ground. For Kaho, she was quite careful, but for me, being careless and tricking were completely different things. In this case, she should have waited until he fainted. Not only in today's cooking practice, but also in this moment, you are in danger, Yoshie said as she ran up to Kaho. She blinked in surprise at herself in relief. What? You're still clumsy at home economics. Your brains and motor nerves are really outstanding, Itsuki said. Yes, Kaho is a cutoff, but she's a completely different person. Well, it's not easy to tell a girl's last name, Yoshie said. That's why Kaho is Wakamatsu's surname, Itsuki said. When Itsuki touched Kaho's right shoulder, her pulse accelerated rapidly. Let go! Shouted Kaho with all his might. Began. She shook up his hand and covered her mouth with her left hand. But it was not in time for her to reach the public restroom. She vomited on the gravel. She wiped her mouth with the back of her right hand and ran to the public toilet, where vomiting continued even in front of the sink. When Yoshie followed her and rubbed her back, her vomiting did not get worse. Were you sick? Itsuki asked. Even normal, but flavored food is hard for her, and I let her eat it without knowing it, Yoshie replied instead of Kaho. It didn't matter to Itsuki about that. Besides, Kaho still had something to hide from him. No, she used to eat school lunches, fried bread normally, he retorted. Yes, Kaho once had the same taste buds as everyone else. I couldn't clear up their misunderstanding, so I had to wait for her to recover. She borrowed Yoshi's shoulder and sat down on the bench, and Itsuki reached for her back to lay her down. She leaned her neck against the back of the bench and she began to vomit again. As they continued to call her loudly, another voice overlapped. Kaho! The person ran to Kaho with a voice that was more tense than anyone else, and with the left arm spread between her and Itsuki. Oh! The distressed man came. Yoshie was staring ahead of her, and Itsuki was staring behind her. There was no way she could see Itsuki through her back, but she could understand by his atmosphere that Itsuki was surprised. Yoshitaka was rubbing her back. Thank you.